So I am getting ready to move from Pennsylvania to Tennessee. I'll be in Tennessee for most of June right now. And I'm actually preaching this Sunday at my sending parish. I'm really excited about that. No hat today, by the way. I don't know where my hat went. It sort of hides every now and then. So, yeah, and then I will be heading to, at the end of summer, I will be heading to California. I'm really excited. Don't know where I'm going to put all my books. And, but we'll see what happens. I wanted to give a few thoughts on the debate I did with Noah Edmonds. And that was the one concerning the papacy, concerning the scriptures and the seven ecumenical councils. First off, I want to point out that Noah is very much a respectful sort of gentleman when it comes to debates, and I appreciate that. And I'm glad that we are able to have good, respectful debates without talking over each other or anything like that. So very thankful for that part. I do want to point out two mistakes I made. So the first one is I don't think either are really big mistakes concerning the arguments themselves. The first one is not a mistake at all concerning the arguments themselves. The second one, you can judge for yourself. So the first one, when I was talking about the three chapters, which is a heresy, three writings that were declared a heresy, I said that the heresy was monophysitism, I think. Yeah, I said monophysitism, which is the heresy of Christ having only one nature. However, actually, the heresy is Nestorianism, which is Christ being two persons. So I made that mistake saying monophysitism. So what happened was sometimes I'll ad lib when I'm reading my opening statements and stuff. And I had written down the three chapters, but I didn't say what the heresy was. And so me thinking, okay, this is a fifth ecumenical council. So the fourth ecumenical council dealt with monophysitism. So obviously it had to have been monophysitism. Although I think I knew beforehand, like, in my studies, I'm sure I came across it being Nestorianism. However, that happens. And so I in my notes, it didn't have it written down. So I just said, okay, monophysitism, just to ad lib to that. Either way, they're different heresies. They're both heresies, and it wouldn't change the debate in any substantial way whatsoever. But I just wanted to clarify that mistake, so people don't think that the three chapters is condemning monophysitism. So the second mistake I made, kind of a technical, it's a bit complicated, so because it goes in a few different ways. So in my listings of early church fathers who held to the position, the interpretation of Matthew 16:18 that I hold to, I mentioned a variety of ones, well-known saints. One that I did cite was Theodoret. And Theodoret is one of the saints in the Assyrian Church of the East, but nowhere else. And the reason for that is, well, he wrote one of the three chapters. So he is an heretic, according to the West and according to most of the East. And but he gives the interpretation that I give, that the confession is the rock upon which Christ will build his church. And so while it's, I mean, in the very technical sense, I didn't say anything wrong, because he is a saint according to the Assyrian Church, and that is the interpretation he gives. However, I don't think this wasn't intentional. I wasn't trying to sort of build up. I'm pretty sure there's a few different Theodorets. And I got this sort of list from someone, I don't remember where, I'd have to look in my notes. It could have been James White, I think, that I got that from. And James White didn't use the three chapters argument in any of his stuff that I'm aware of, at least. But anyway, so, I got that list, and I didn't check all of them out, but I checked out quite a few of the interpretations that they gave, especially like St. John Chrysostom and some of the other ones that were given, like the well-known ones, St. Augustine. I even talked about St. Augustine's changing of his mind and everything. But the thing is, I left out, for instance, Tertullian and some others, and the reason for that is that Tertullian's not a saint. So I could have just been like, well, you know, Theodoret is not a saint, so I could have just taken him out, you know. But I didn't realize that he was the Theodoret of the 3 chapters, Theodoret. So that is, I don't think in any real way it weakens my argument, because at most I would have to take out that one name, you know, and I could add quite a few others. There's quite a few I could have added. So it's just sort of a mistake on like the best names to be used, I guess you could say. But yeah, it's there, and so just wanted to clarify that he's not a saint according to most of the church outside of the, you know, except for the Assyrian Church of the East, which actually some people would argue is not even Nestorian anyway. But regardless. So I think insofar as the debate itself went, you know, after clarifying those 2 mistakes, insofar as the debate itself went, I think it went well. So we had to change a few things sort of at the last minute. So about a week before, Noah asked if I would be willing to have our opening statements extended to 20 minutes instead of 15 minutes. And I gave no objection. I didn't really have an objection to it. I used up most of that anyway. And so what we were going to do was that, you know, so it changed to 20 minutes. I was hoping for us to have much longer of the cross-examination, because I think the cross-examination is probably the most important part insofar as like the meat of the debate goes, because until you get to that point, you are just 2 people who are not directly arguing with each other. You're just giving your positions. But in the cross-examination, what's happening is you are saying, okay, these are your positions. How does that work with this? And, you know, back and forth like that sort of thing. And it works really well with someone like Noah, who is going to be very respectful. And so we did with our 15 minutes, which honestly I would have preferred something like half an hour. With our 15 minutes, we just, you know, we did what we could. I think probably what I should have led to was more working and focusing more upon Matthew 16:18, because that's the verse and passage in question. And I kept talking about Isaiah 22 because he had brought it up, but I kept running out of time with it, you know, or at least once, maybe twice, I think. I know at my rebuttal, I brought it up at the end, and I was like, oh, well, he connects it with Isaiah 22, but the problem is Matthew 18:18, and then it cut off. So, and I'm not going to, the point of this video is not to give additional arguments. I don't think that would be charitable. You know, the debate is the debate. It's done. This is just me sort of thinking about the things and just making any corrections to any errors that I did make. But, so yeah, I would have focused more upon Matthew 16:18 first, and then gone into the councils. And as much as I think the Second Ecumenical Council is important, and the 5th and 6th are as well, the fact is that Noah focused upon the 3rd and 4th Ecumenical Councils. So what I should have done was focus on Matthew 16:18, and then moved on to the 3rd and 4th Ecumenical Councils, which would have been sort of where our opening statements intersected. You know, those 3 points, Matthew 16:18 and the 3rd and 4th Ecumenical Councils. That, I think, would have been a better way for us to go through with the cross-examination. So it would have been a much better, you know, usage of our 15 minutes. And so, yeah. Other than that, I mean, I think it went well. I think that Noah is a great debater and is, did a great job. Once again, just very respectful and all that sort of stuff. And so, yeah, that's it. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope you all learned something, and hope you watched this because it corrects all of the, the 2 mistakes I made. There might be others. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Yes, please subscribe.